Stop. Please, Amanda, I can't take this anymore.
Mama Evelyn's frail voice cracked as she stumbled backward, her hands trembling as she clutched the arm of the couch for balance. The woman's body had grown weak from years of arthritis, but her spirit had never broken, until now. Amanda stood over her, towering, her face twisted in contempt. "You old woman, don't play the victim with me. This is my house now. You hear me? Not yours. You've been treated like a queen long enough." With a sudden shove, Amanda forced Evelyn off balance. The older woman's knees buckled and she fell onto the rug, the impact knocking the breath from her chest. Her cry echoed through the room, sharp and pitiful. "Please," Evelyn whispered, her palms pressed to the floor as she tried to rise. "I loved you like a daughter. I welcomed you. Why are you doing this to me?" Amanda scoffed, folding her arms. "Loved me? You never loved me. You just pitied me. And now that David is mine, everything he owns is mine too, including this house. You're nothing but dead weight, and I'm sick of carrying you." Her words cut deeper than any strike. Evelyn's tears rolled down her cheeks, soaking into the carpet. Amanda leaned closer, her voice dripping with venom. "Your son may think you're some saint, but I see you for what you are, a burden. And once he realizes it too, you'll be out on the street for good." The older woman pressed her hands together in a trembling plea. "Amanda, I am sick. I can't fight you. You've had your way, but please have mercy." Amanda laughed bitterly. "Mercy? You don't deserve mercy. You don't belong here, Evelyn. I'll make sure you never forget it." And then, another shove. Evelyn toppled back against the cold tile, her shawl slipping from her shoulders, her colorful gown soaking up her tears. She lay there, gasping, the sound of rain pounding against the windows like the heavens themselves were weeping with her. Amanda raised her voice louder, mocking, "Go on, cry. No one's here to help you. Your precious son isn't here to protect you now." But Amanda was wrong. The sound of keys jingling at the door broke the tension. The lock clicked, the door swung open, and in walked David, his shirt damp from the drizzle outside, grocery bags in hand. He had come home unannounced, hoping to surprise his mother with her favorite soup. Instead, his eyes froze on the sight before him. His mother, crumpled on the floor, tears streaking her face, whispering his name. His wife, standing above her, her hand still extended from the last shove, her face twisted in frustration. The groceries slipped from David's grasp, cans and bottles rolling across the floor. The echo filled the room, heavier than thunder. Amanda spun, her face paling as she realized what had just happened. "David, wait. It's not what it looks like." But her words faltered when she saw the look in his eyes. His fury was silent, colder than ice, sharper than steel. His voice cut through the air like a blade. "I saw it, Amanda. Every second of it." The room went silent. The rain outside beat harder against the windows, as if nature itself bore witness to her cruelty. Evelyn reached for her son's hand, clinging to him as though he were the last piece of strength she had left. And Amanda knew, in that frozen instant, that her mask had shattered. Before we dive deeper into this shocking story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. David's chest heaved as he bent down, helping his mother to her feet. His arms wrapped protectively around her fragile frame. She shook against him, whispering through her tears, "David, she dragged me. She dragged me like I was nothing." Amanda took a step forward, her voice suddenly soft, trembling. "David, please, listen to me. You don't understand. She was being difficult. I was just trying to, David's head snapped toward her, his glare enough to freeze her in place. His voice rumbled low, dangerous. "Trying to what, Amanda? To teach my sick mother a lesson? By shoving her onto the floor like garbage?" Amanda's lips quivered, her arms crossing defensively. "She provoked me. She always does. She said I wasn't a real part of this family. Evelyn's voice cracked, weak but firm. That's a lie. I said nothing of the kind. David's hands tightened around his mother's shoulders. His voice rose. Do you even hear yourself, Amanda? My mother sick and grieving, and you think this is how you earn respect in this house? Amanda's face flushed with panic, words tumbling out desperately. David, don't let her turn you against me. You weren't here. You didn't hear how she talks to me when you're gone. She undermines me. She treats me like an outsider. I lost my temper. Lost your temper? David repeated, each word heavier than the last. He pointed at the rug where his mother had fallen. That's not losing your temper, Amanda. That's cruelty. Tears stung Amanda's eyes as she scrambled for footing. David, I love you. Everything I've done is for us. She hates me. She's always hated me. But Evelyn, still trembling, lifted her chin. Her voice came quiet but steady. I loved you like a daughter. I gave you this home, and in return you humiliated me. Amanda's jaw tightened, her mask cracking as her anger flared. Oh, don't act like a saint, Evelyn. You've always judged me. You've always made me feel less. Maybe if you treated me with some respect, I wouldn't have snapped. David's face hardened, his eyes unblinking. Respect is earned, Amanda, and tonight you lost every ounce of mine. The storm outside howled, rattling the windows as silence fell between them. Amanda's breathing grew frantic, her chest rising and falling as she realized there was no escape. David pulled out his phone slowly, the red light of the recording app blinking. I saw enough with my own eyes. But now the world will hear the truth from her lips too. He turned to his mother gently. Tell them, Mom. Tell them what she did. Evelyn's voice trembled but carried the weight of truth. She pushed me. She mocked me. She said I don't belong in the home I built with your father. She treated me like I was nothing. Amanda's face drained of color. Her world, the lies, the facade, the reputation she'd built, was collapsing in real time. And David stood tall, fury burning steady in his eyes. This ends tonight, Amanda. You will never lay a hand on my mother again. Do you hear me? Never. The storm outside seemed to roar in agreement, lightning flashing across the room like judgment from above. Amanda's lips trembled as the silence dragged on, broken only by the pounding of rain against the windows. Her hands shook as she wrung them together, trying to regain the poise that had slipped through her fingers. David, she began, her voice trembling. You have to understand. I never meant to hurt her. She was insulting me, belittling me. Stop lying. David's words cracked like a whip. His eyes burned with a fury Amanda had never seen before. I walked in and saw everything. I don't need your excuses. Amanda flinched at the sharpness of his tone but quickly tried to recover. She straightened, her voice rising with a defensive edge. So you're just going to take her side, aren't you? Because she's your precious mother and I'll always be the outsider. She can do no wrong but me. I'm always the villain in your eyes. Evelyn clutched her shawl tighter, her weak frame shaking. She whispered through sobs, I never wanted this, David. I only wanted peace in this house. I prayed she would love you and respect this family. But look at what she's done to me. Amanda's head snapped toward her, eyes flashing. Oh, stop the act. You're not some fragile saint. You've undermined me from the start, making him believe you're the only woman who truly matters in his life. Well, guess what, Evelyn? You can't keep him forever. He's my husband. This house will be mine. And you, she pointed a trembling finger, you're nothing but a sick, bitter old woman who refuses to let go. The venom in her words sent gasps through Evelyn's lips. Tears streamed down her face as she sank into the couch, clutching her chest like each insult was a dagger. David's fists clenched, his entire body trembling. Enough. His voice dropped lower, colder, each syllable like ice. Don't you dare speak to her like that again. But Amanda only laughed, a cruel, hollow sound. What, David? Are you going to throw me out now? Divorce me? Do you think anyone will believe you over me? I'll tell everyone your mother provoked me, that she attacked me. Who do you think they'll believe? The grieving wife who tried to build a home, or the old woman who refuses to move on? David stepped forward, his eyes locked on hers. They'll believe the truth, Amanda, because the truth is all I need. I saw it, and Mom lived it. Your lies can't cover this anymore. Amanda's mask cracked further. Desperation twisted her features as her voice turned shrill. If you walk away from me now, David, you'll regret it. I'll ruin you. I'll take this house, your savings, everything. You'll end up with nothing but her, and when she's gone, you'll be all alone. The cruelty in her tone pierced Evelyn's heart. She whispered brokenly, How can you speak such evil, Amanda? How can you have so much hatred in your heart? Amanda sneered, her face twisted with rage. Because I'm done being second place, done being compared to some perfect memory, done bowing to an old woman's authority. I deserve better than this. David shook his head slowly, disappointment filling his voice. Better? You think cruelty is better? You think shoving a sick woman onto the floor makes you strong? No, Amanda, it makes you weak, it makes you heartless. Lightning flashed across the room, illuminating Amanda's pale face as the storm outside raged like a reflection of the chaos inside. Evelyn lifted her hand toward her son, her voice shaky but resolute. Ben, she doesn't deserve another chance. Don't let her break this home any further. Protect what your father built. David's jaw tightened. He bent down, kissed his mother's hand gently, and then rose to face Amanda with finality in his eyes. This ends now, he said, his voice steady as stone. You wanted to show the world who you really are? Fine. But you'll do it from the outside, not in this home. My mother will never suffer under your roof again. This house is hers. And you, he pointed firmly toward the door, are finished here. Amanda's breath hitched, her face flushed with fury, but for the first time, fear flickered in her eyes. She realized the battle she thought she was winning had just slipped out of her hands. Evelyn leaned back against the couch, exhausted but relieved, whispering through tears, Thank you, son. And in that moment, the balance of power shifted. Amanda was no longer in control. David was. And his mother, for the first time in years, felt protected. The storm outside seemed to applaud the truth being revealed. David didn't raise his voice again. He didn't need to. The room already remembered the way it shook when he said, Enough. Mom, he said softly, turning back to Evelyn, we're going to get you checked out. He slid a throw pillow behind her back, tucked the shawl around her shoulders, and glanced at the faint redness on her wrist. Does your chest hurt? Any dizziness? A little, she admitted, breath quivering. Mostly. I'm just tired. You're not alone, he said. Not anymore. He looked up at Amanda. Go upstairs. Pack a small bag. You're leaving tonight. Amanda's chin lifted. David's expression didn't move. It stopped being a home the moment you treated my mother like an enemy. You may have a key, Amanda, but you don't have permission to harm people here. I didn't harm anyone, she snapped. She started it, like always. Enough. The word arrived quieter this time, somehow heavier. I saw what I saw. Amanda's eyes flicked to the mantel, to the framed wedding photo, then to the staircase, as if the house itself might come to her defense. If I leave tonight, I'll call everyone. Your cousins, my parents, the neighborhood board. They'll hear what she's like behind closed doors. David exhaled through his nose. Threats are another line you won't cross here. He pulled his phone from his pocket, not to record but to make 2 calls on speaker. First, the after-hours nurse line from Evelyn's clinic. He described the fall, the existing health history, the tenderness at the wrist. Yes, we can bring her for an evaluation, he repeated, glancing at his mother with reassurance. We'll be there in 40 minutes. Second, He called his longtime friend and advisor, Harold Benton, the same level-headed man who'd helped David set healthy boundaries when he got married. "Harold, I need a witness while I escort Amanda out. I want calm and clarity. Front door in 10. Amanda laughed without humor. "A witness? What is this? An arbitration?" "It's respect," David said. "For everyone." He crouched beside his mother again. "I'm going to help you to your room to rest while I sort this. We'll head to the clinic as soon as Harold arrives." Evelyn touched his sleeve. "David, don't let her bait you. Just be the man your father raised." He nodded, helped his mother stand, and walked her carefully down the hall. When he returned, Amanda was standing by the staircase with a tote bag, empty, arms folded, eyes cold. "What exactly do you think happens tomorrow?" she asked. "Tomorrow," David said, "I change the door code, have the locks rekeyed, and send you, through counsel, an outline of next steps. You'll have a chance to collect your personal items with a third party present. You will not come and go as you please, and you will not contact my mother. Ever. You think you can fence me out of my life?" She shot back. "I'm choosing safety. That includes yours. Conflict ends at the threshold." The doorbell chimed. Harold stepped in, raincoat dripping, face grave. "Evening, David. Ms. Amanda." He nodded to each, calm as a referee who'd seen too many seasons to be rattled. "Let's keep this civil." "Civil?" Amanda scoffed. "He's throwing me out like trash." Harold's voice stayed even. "You're being asked to leave for tonight so medical care can be provided without disruption. A short-term boundary. That's smart." Amanda's composure thinned to a sharp line. "You're all making a huge mistake." David gestured toward the foyer. "I'll wait here while you pack a change of clothes, toiletries, and your work bag. 10 minutes. For a long beat, she didn't move. Then her shoulders slumped a fraction. She swung up the stairs, grabbed a few items with noisy zippers and slammed drawers for punctuation, and returned with the tote finally filled. At the door, she paused and threw one last dart. "You always were a mama's boy, David. It's pathetic." He didn't take the bait. "I'm a son," he said simply. "That used to be one of the things you liked about me." Silence. She walked out into the wet night. Harold waited on the porch until her rideshare pulled away, then closed the door gently. "You did the right thing," Harold said. "You kept it steady." David nodded once, the adrenaline finally ebbing. "I have to get Mom to the clinic." "I'll drive," Harold said. "You sit with her." David glanced toward the hallway where his mother rested, the lamp casting a warm circle of light. "Thank you." As he gathered Evelyn's purse and medication list, his phone buzzed. A message from Amanda. "Tell your mother she won for now. But this isn't over. You'll see." He read it, locked the screen, and slipped the phone into his pocket. He didn't reply. "Come on, Mom," he said softly from her doorway. "Let's get you looked at." She rose with his help, eyes glossy but steadier. "I'm sorry," she whispered as they reached the foyer, "that you had to see your home like that." He squeezed her hand. "I'm grateful I came home in time." Outside, the storm had softened to a steady hush, like a metronome for breathing again. The house, for the first time in a long time, felt aligned with its owner, and a new rule, quiet but unbreakable, settled in the air. Love lives here, cruelty leaves. The overnight clinic was efficient and kind. X-rays showed no fracture, only a sprain. The physician's note documented contusions consistent with a fall and reported physical altercation at home. Evelyn was fitted with a soft wrist brace and given care instructions: rest, ice, elevation, and follow-up. On the ride back, Evelyn watched streetlights drift past the window like slow comets. "I thought if I kept the peace long enough it would grow into respect," she said. David stared at his hands. "And I thought calling it tension would make it smaller than it was." "Don't blame yourself," she said. "You saw what mattered when it mattered." At home, Harold set water to boil for tea and scribbled a brief summary of the night. times, observations, who was present, then slid the paper across the counter. If anyone asks later, fresh details beat fuzzy memory, he said. You may never need it, but clarity can save you twice. By noon, David had rescheduled 3 job sites, changed the alarm code, and called his attorney, Mrs. Alvarez, who approached conflict the way a seasoned pilot handles turbulence. Steady hands, clear instruments, no drama. First, she said over speakerphone, I'll send a formal separation letter and a notice of no contact regarding your mother. Second, we'll arrange a supervised retrieval for Amanda's personal effects, date, time, neutral third party. Third, we'll propose a mediated exit, clean, fast, private. I'm not trying to destroy her, David said. I'm trying to protect my mother and my home. That clarity helps, Alvarez replied. We'll keep the tone professional. Evelyn sat at the dining table, wrist-wrapped, tea steaming, eyes on the family photographs along the hall. What happens if she tries to sway people? She asked quietly. Say we're cruel for turning her out. Then we let our conduct speak, David said, and we let silence do its work. But silence did not arrive first. Amanda did, in the form of a late-morning text thread to mutual friends about being unsafe and an impossible mother-in-law. David didn't counter it with a competing story. He sent only one message to a small circle. We're taking a pause for safety after an incident. Evelyn is okay and being cared for. No further details. Then he put his phone face down and returned to his mother's side. 2 days later, Amanda's attorney responded. The message was polished, cautious, and familiar. Misunderstanding, heightened emotions, temporary separation, hope for reconciliation. Alvarez replied with calm borders, written no contact with Evelyn, a date for retrieval, and a mediation calendar. That evening, a neighbor, Mrs. Coleman, who'd known David since he was a boy, stopped by with a casserole and a quiet confession. I've heard sharp voices over the months, she said, eyes kind. I didn't know how to help without making it worse. I'm glad you came home when you did. You being here helps now, Evelyn said, smiling sincerely for the first time in days. Thank you. During supervised retrieval, Amanda arrived with a professional mover and an attorney's assistant. Harold stood by with a clipboard. Alvarez's paralegal managed the checklist. There were no arguments, just the sound of boxes taped shut and footsteps measured to the pace of rules. Amanda kept her gaze on the floor, lips pressed into a familiar line. When she reached the doorway, she hesitated as if to turn back and launch a final volley. Then she didn't. She stepped into the light and walked away. Mediation proceeded a week later in a small conference suite with soft chairs and firmer expectations. Alvarez laid out a straightforward path, a practical division of personal property, an agreed sale of the car they'd purchased together, no claim on the house, and, most importantly, a mutual no-contact clause with Evelyn. It wasn't triumph. It was peace by paperwork. Amanda tried a last pivot, framing herself as isolated and pushed aside, but Alvarez stayed on course. Whatever your feelings, she said evenly, my client will not return to a home where his mother felt unsafe. We can exit with dignity, or we can drag this until the cost teaches the same lesson. Dignity, expensive in its way, prevailed. Documents were signed, keys returned, codes changed. A marriage ended with fewer words than it took to begin, and more wisdom on the other side of it. In the quiet that followed, healing showed up in small, faithful ways. David moved his mother's favorite chair to face the window that caught the morning sun. He reinstated Sunday dinners, roast chicken, her recipe, the one that made the whole house smell like memory. He found a physical therapist who came twice a week to help with her strength and confidence. He set his phone to do not disturb every evening at 6. One night, while they folded laundry together, soft cotton, warm from the dryer, Evelyn said, I kept trying to be smaller so peace would fit, but peace needs honest size. David smiled ruefully. I kept trying to be quieter so conflict would sleep. Turns out it naps and comes back hungry. She chuckled softly, then sobered. Promise me we won't learn the same lesson twice. We won't, he said. Not in this house. A few weeks later, David hosted Harold and Mrs. Coleman for coffee. The living room, once a pressure chamber, felt like itself again. They talked about ordinary things, the new cafe on Pine, the high school team's playoff run, the neighbor who finally fixed his fence. Ordinary felt like a luxury. Before they left, Mrs. Coleman squeezed Evelyn's hand. You look lighter, she said. Stronger too. Both, Evelyn replied. Sometimes the bravest thing you do is stay. Sometimes it's ask someone to leave. When the door closed, David turned to his mother. Ready for the last change? He reached up and rehung the photo that had quietly left the wall months ago. His parents on their front steps the day they closed on the house, boxes stacked behind them, smiles wide with beginning. Evelyn pressed her fingers to the glass. Your father would like what you've done, she said. He always said a home isn't measured by square footage. It's measured by who feels safe inside. David's phone buzzed. An email from Alvarez confirming that the final documents had been filed and the case was closed. He powered the phone off entirely and set it in a drawer. Tea? He asked. Please, Evelyn said, sinking into her chair, the wrist brace finally gone. Steam rose. The lamp glowed. The storm, inside and out, was a story from earlier in the month, not a forecast. The living room seemed to breathe. David sat opposite his mother, cup in hand. I'm sorry it took a hard moment to see a simple truth, he said. Family isn't who shares a roof. It's who shares respect. Evelyn nodded, eyes warm. Then this house, she said, is full. He smiled. And it's staying that way. A beat of quiet, comfortable earned passed between them. Then gently, David offered the only question he'd kept to the very end. If it had been your friend in that room instead of us, what would you have told her to do? Evelyn didn't hesitate. Draw the line. Guard the quiet. Choose the kindness that sometimes looks like firmness. He nodded once, as if he'd finally finished reading the instructions for a life he already owned. The living room was packed that Sunday evening. Cousins, neighbors, longtime family friends, even members from church filled every seat and corner. The air buzzed with unease. No one knew why David had called them together so urgently, but his tone on the phone had been unshakably serious. Amanda sat near the doorway, arms crossed tightly, wearing a forced smile. She expected David to embarrass himself. Maybe he'd scold her in front of everyone and she could play the victim again, shedding a few tears for sympathy. She had practiced her story all afternoon. Evelyn provoked me, she insulted me, I just lost control. It would be her word against Evelyn's, but David had other plans. He stood in front of the TV, jaw set, one hand clutching a small flash drive. His eyes swept the room, pausing on his mother. Evelyn sat in her chair with a shawl wrapped around her shoulders. Her hands trembled slightly, but her chin was lifted high, her dignity intact. David spoke slowly, each word deliberate. Tonight I called you all here for one reason. To let the truth speak louder than lies. He plugged in the flash drive. The TV screen flickered to life. At first there was only the hum of static, then the familiar sound of Evelyn's voice. Weak, pleading. Please, Amanda, stop. I'm begging you. Gasps rippled through the room. Then came Amanda's voice, cold and sharp as glass. You're nothing but a sick, bitter old woman who refuses to let go. The shove followed. Evelyn's cry filled the room, then Amanda's cruel laughter. The silence that followed was deafening. Every eye turned toward Amanda. Her smile crumbled. Her face went pale. David's voice cut through. This is who she really is. Amanda jumped to her feet, hands raised defensively. Wait, no, you don't understand. That's not the full story. She provoked me. She twisted everything. But no one moved. No one looked convinced. Evelyn's sister, Aunt Patricia, shot up from her chair. Provoked you? She can barely walk, Amanda. What could she possibly have done to deserve that? Amanda stammered. She's always belittling me, making me feel like I'm not good enough. You don't know what it's like living with her. Uncle Jerome, the family elder, folded his arms. His deep voice rumbled like thunder. I do know. I've known Evelyn for 65 years. She raised David after his father passed, worked double shifts, and never once complained. And you dare to claim she provoked you? Shame on you. Amanda's lip quivered, but she pressed on. You're all against me. Of course you'll take her side. You've always treated me like an outsider. From the back of the room, one of the cousins spoke up. No, Amanda. We welcomed you. We gave you respect. You lost it all by showing us who you really are. The walls closed in around her. David stepped forward, eyes blazing. Amanda, you thought you could bully my mother in silence. You thought her sickness made her weak. But you forgot one thing. She raised me. And I will never let her stand alone. Evelyn clutched his hand, tears streaming silently down her face. For the first time in years, she felt truly defended. Amanda tried one last desperate play. Her voice rose to a shrill pitch. Fine. You all think I'm the villain? Just wait. I'll tell everyone what really happened. I'll say Evelyn hates me, that she's been poisoning this marriage. People will believe me. They'll side with me. But before David could answer, Evelyn herself found her voice. She rose slowly, leaning on her cane, her frame trembling but her voice steady. Enough. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to her. I have been quiet for too long, Evelyn said. I prayed this woman would respect this house, respect my son, respect me. But instead she tried to break me. She called me names, shoved me to the floor, mocked my sickness, and laughed at my pain. And I stayed silent to protect this family's peace. Her gaze swept the room. Not anymore. Tonight, you all saw the truth. I will not be silenced again. And if Amanda believes anyone will side with her cruelty, she is gravely mistaken. Her words were met with murmurs of agreement. Heads nodded. A few even clapped softly. David's cousin Denise stood, pointing directly at Amanda. We don't want your lies in this family anymore. Leave. Amanda's composure cracked completely. Her face flushed deep red, her voice wobbling. You can't just throw me out like this. This is my house too. David's voice thundered back. No. This is my father's house. My mother's house. A house built on sacrifice and love. You brought cruelty into it, and tonight that ends. He pointed firmly toward the door. Pack your things, Amanda. You will not spend another night under this roof. The room erupted in murmurs. Amanda's eyes darted desperately from face to face but found no ally. Chelsea, her own sister who had once egged her on, sat stone-faced, unwilling to meet her gaze. Finally, Amanda broke. You'll regret this, David. You'll regret humiliating me like this. David's tone was calm, almost chilling. No, Amanda. The only regret in this room is that we let you stay as long as we did. Amanda stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The room exhaled collectively, tension melting into relief. Evelyn collapsed back into her chair, tears of gratitude shining in her eyes. David knelt beside her. It's over, Mom. She can't hurt you anymore. Evelyn cupped his face, her voice trembling. You gave me back my dignity. That's something no storm, no cruelty, can ever take away. As thunder rumbled in the distance, the family gathered around her, offering words of love, promises of protection, and the warmth of community that Amanda had tried so hard to strip away. For Amanda, the downfall was swift. The video made its way through the community. The woman who once bragged about controlling her household became the subject of whispers, pity, and disgust. Invitations vanished. Friends turned away. Even her workplace quietly let her go. Her cruelty had written her downfall. For Evelyn, Respect returned tenfold. People came by with flowers and food. At church she was honored, not pitied. And at home, she sat peacefully, knowing her son had proven himself not just as a man, but as her protector. David's final words to her that night carried the weight of victory. Mom, love stays, cruelty leaves, and love won tonight. The storm outside eased into silence, as though even the heavens agreed. What would you have done in David's place? Confront immediately like he did, or create distance first and address it later? Tell me why. And before you go, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss the next story.